Hey, what is up, SWAT Robotic people that watch this content? I am SWAT Robotic, and I just want to first, the only reason this is even happening is because I want to test voiceover, because if it works, I want to do a 50 drops at the authority. Anyways, I just want to point that out, and I want you guys to know that this is only a theory that I have. This is not factual in any way, shape, or form. And yeah, just please know that, and yeah, I guess I can say, please enjoy. Alright, what is going on, guys? SWAT Robotic here, and today I'm gonna let kitties do everything.
Alright, let's get to the point.
But I like you. I'm gonna put on the kids again. Sorry, Midas.
Then I'll put on Midas.
Anyway, so let's get to the point. We're talking about the Fortnite storyline. Yeah, Midas. So, let's get into season 1. So there was this new world, and lots of people were going to it. Vendor Tech was a company in a different world, and was kind of like a watch guardian. Pretty much making sure that this world worked properly, but it was fun. It was a fun world. Well, I guess for people that murder each other. Dr. Vendor Tech, the founder of Vendor Tech's company, created the first ever Battle Royale island, the Battle Pass, and even the characters. Anyway, so yeah. Really, nothing really happens until season 3, where the man, the myth, Midas gets involved. So my man Midas has been in this game, has been with us since chapter 1, season 3. Midas is an agent, right? And season 3 seemed to be about astronauts and agents. But, you know, the one person that we never really talked about storyline-wise, John Wick, well, was John Wick. The astronauts were important because of the meteor, but you know who we never talked about?
The Visitor.
No, that's for season 4.
Ah, I see.
Who's the season 3 Battle Pass skin no one talked about?
I don't know. I played in season 4.
Ow. It's the Elite Agent. See, as you know, Midas recruits agents. Well, he used the Elite Agent to help him. See, the Elite Agent is an agent, right? She worked behind the scenes with Midas. But if you remember, who everyone thought was the government, these helicopters. You know what was introduced when Midas came into the game?
Helicopters.
Thank you. Yes, helicopters. Midas was in the game, watching from the shadows for his secret plan. No one really knew what it was. He was very quiet about it. He killed anyone who figured it out. So yeah, Midas, with the meteor coming, knew that he had to create a diversion. And so, if it hit Tilted Towers, the middle of the map, he knew that everyone would die. How he knew this, we don't know, but we do know that he knew this. So Midas sent a code to tell everyone that it was going to hit Tilted Towers, so everyone got prepared for it. Obviously, he knew that it was not going to hit Tilted. He made sure of that with the way that sound waves. With people protecting Tilted, the waves would change it over to a nearby place of Dusty Depot, turning it into Dusty Divot, in the perfect place for him to begin his work. So while Midas worked from the shadows, he also worked in Dusty Divot, turning it into a little bit of a working place. And let's talk about that. We bring to season 4.
Did you cut?
So yeah, season 4. Midas, who was pretending to act as a government, which was weird because players should have realized that there's no government in this, but they didn't. So Midas continued to work as a pretend government with the elite agent in the newly found kitten, Meowscles. Now Meowscles at this time was a baby kitty and looked like Kit did. However, Meowscles did provide some emotional support for Midas, and he was very thankful for that. So he kept it around as a nice little pet. Now him and Elite Agent were not dating, but he didn't need the kitten for emotional support. Anyways, so back to what I was talking about. Season 4 arrives, and Midas, pretending to be the government, decides to make a movie using the remnants of Moisty Mire, a prison, and a rocket base. He did make a hero base, but he knew that that wouldn't work very well as a rocket base. So he built a prop rocket, and using the movie as an excuse to get to the rocket, he started collecting hot rocks near the end of Season 4. The Elite Agent helped him out while Midas started to program the rocket to hit Tilted, and a way to explode Tilted and Loot Lake. Loot Lake held the 0 point. Now, I know some of you guys are probably asking, why didn't he just go for Loot Lake? Well, 2 reasons. A, there was a house on it, and B, if he hit Loot Lake, the water would stop the most of the damage, and we just get what we got in Season 6. See, Midas knew this and decided to was trying to hit Tilted. But the Visitor, who was one of the island's biggest heroes, stopped him. He took over the rocket. He hacked the rocket right under Midas, and Midas, not realizing this, the Visitor, knowing that Midas didn't realize this, sent warnings out to everyone to get away from the rocket quickly. Exactly. The Visitor. However, Midas was not going to get outsmarted that easy. He took control back of the rocket for a very brief time, and was able to attempt to hit Tilted Towers, but instead he hit 0 points, the rifts. And Midas, not knowing what these were, just flew around trying to hit Tilted or Loot Lake, but then the Visitor took control of the rocket and went into the in-between. Season 5. Alright, let's go to Season 5. Now, not much really happens beginning of Season 5, but remember, there was a giant rift in the sky, and the Visitor used the giant rift in the sky as a beacon to send something to try to stop Midas, or whoever was to stop what he thought was a government. So the Visitor made the cube, or Kevin the Cube. Now, Kevin does play a very important role, as he
is the energy source of everything.
He was the energy source of Loot Lake, pretty much, exactly everything. And Midas actually used this to his advantage and chased him around to go to Loot Lake. Now, obviously, he didn't do this in front of people, but only when they least expected it. The cube was programmed to kill Midas. Midas, being one step ahead of everyone, got the cube to follow him to Loot Lake, and when it went in there, and because it was programmed to suck up Midas and then spit him out, he knew that if he got it into Loot Lake, it would take out most the water that was stopping him, and would use that to get to the vault, the 0 point spear, which he could use to get out of to do his plan. He could use to do his plan. But yeah, so Season 6 arrives, and Midas's theory was correct. The cube sucks out it sucks up Loot Lake, most of it anyways, and leaving its room spots, it goes around to get more power, again trying to get as much energy as possible. See, now that it did what it thought was its job, it went on its own mission to get energy. Now, obviously, Midas knew that this would distract the island inhabitants, and using this, he went and got another member for his team, Lynx. Well, kind of. See, Lynx was introduced in Season 7, but when Meowscles fully got grown, Meowscles at this point was fully grown, and Midas knew that having another cat, or cat-ish person, would help him, and so Meowscles and Midas agreed to get Lynx. Lynx helped him out a lot with a lot of the distraction work. But at this time Meowscles started to flirt with Lynx, and Lynx flirted back with him. Now Midas did not know about this, nor did he like it. Anyways, yeah, but with the cube doing its energy, Midas could use that as an excuse to start working on the 0-point sphere. But when the cube went back to Lake, it exploded. Midas was actually happy with this because he was going to use this as an escape route. He was in the in-between. But some sort of butterfly stopped him. Singularity, or what we thought of as a butterfly, stopped him. Now obviously, again, this was not expected by Midas, as he was continually getting foiled. But what did help him? The Ice King. See, the Ice King also wanted the 0-point sphere, but for a different reason. He wanted it to get endless power to make the entire island go into snow. And see, Midas, using this knowledge, decided to have him work with him. And you know how he did that? He made the Ice King golden. See, if you guys remember, there was a golden style for the Ice King. And you know who caused that? The golden boy himself, Midas. Midas, now with the Ice King under his control, had him put the entire map under snow, which again gave him an excuse to attack Lake. And making more work on, and doing this, Midas realized that the snow was melting, but too quickly. The Ice King, however, not snapped out of his hypnotism, didn't really care. The Fire King escaped, also known as the Prisoner, and went to work in Loot Lake to erupt the volcano. But see, at Season 8 at the same time, Midas met the next member of his agency, Sky. But Sky didn't come without a price, as Sky also meant the death of the elite agent. Why did elite agent have to die, you ask? Well, the elite agent found out Midas's plan. And Midas has to kill anyone who finds out about his plan. Because if his plan is exposed, Midas will die. And that's not an exaggeration. But Sky, if you guys didn't know, was an eco-specialist, wanted the best for nature. And she built No Sweat. So yes, Season 8 comes, and with it brings all new surprises, but mainly the Prisoner. See, Midas knew the Ice King was still under his control, but he didn't have the Prisoner under his control. And this was not good. But see, his hypnotism was wearing off, and the Ice King eventually became Silver, showing that he was stuck in a state where, while he was still hypnotized, was also in his own state of mind. And this was pretty good for Midas, meaning that he could still work but tell him what to do. But see, Season 8 was the turning point. Midas finally had the distraction he needed to get to the 0 point. He started off with a dig site right next to in the middle of nowhere, pretty much, exposing a geyser, which of course was energy built up from, you guessed it, the cube. You probably didn't guess that, but it's the truth. The cube is the reason that the island powers, and the volcano along with the cube created geysers. And then he built one in Dusty Divot, exposing some lava. And this shows that he was getting closer to the core. The core is the 0 point. Finally, he finally attacked Loot Lake. The copters were back, and his entire team was to work. Midas was making sure his plan went perfectly. And along with finding a weird banana as a guardian, he hypnotized him and became Agent Peely, who was the newest member of his crew. But see, his crew went to work. Midas, Sky, Meowscles, and Lynx. That crew went together and eventually found the 0 point. But see, what Midas didn't realize is that the players found out about that he saw it too. And so he had to run. But see, what he didn't know is that people were going to find it. And that it was going to open. And it opened and he jumped in along with everyone else. But Midas was more focused on trying to get the 0 point out. And he almost did. Midas put the 0 point into an area where it could be easily grabbed. And remember how I said the Ice King was hypnotized? Well, he got to the prisoner. That's right, he hypnotized the prisoner as well. How did he do this? Well, he used the Ice King as a distraction, and Midas melted off the final bit of chains on him and exposed the evil prisoner. With the prisoner and the Ice King both hypnotized to his appeal, he had the prisoner shoot things at 3 places. Retail Row, Tilted Towers, except for no Sweat, which was their new working place, and Polar Peak, because the Ice King told them there was a beast hidden inside. And Midas needed that out. See, he found out about Singularity because he's 1 step ahead of the game. Midas knew. And when he saw that people wanted the drum gun back, he put that into account for when he would finally show himself. Then Midas kind of relaxes for most of Season 9. But when the monster is finally shown, Midas puts his plan to action. He uses the Ice King to keep control of the monster and have it attack after they built the robot. See, Singularity knew about the 0 point. Singularity was its protector, but Midas knew that if Singularity had to use it, she would. And she did. The monster was 2 steps away from getting it for Midas. But Singularity exposed it and killed the monster, as well as finally putting the Ice King to rest. But this is where the mechs were built. Singularity knew that they needed some sort of protection, and so just like the Rift Zones, they built their own protection, the mechs. See, the visitor, watching from above, had realized that Midas. See, he knew about Midas too. And he didn't know his plans, but Midas found out that Visitor's plans were very similar to his. Midas just went about doing them differently. See, the Visitor also wanted to break the loop. And while we didn't know what that meant at the time, Midas got more people. He got the Toxic Troopers, which is why they're yellow. He as well as got many other team members, but the Toxic Troopers were there to pretty much help him. See, the scientist, what he did is he built Rift Zones for each of the 7 scientists. But see, Midas decided to use that their similar plans as an excuse to get closer to him. And what he said is, "Here, I can work with you. I can build a Rift Zone and I can build its protection device." The scientist, realizing that he might be a good guy, said yes. And he built Moisty Palms. And that's right, Midas was indeed anti-visitor. That's the wrong emote. He pretended to be visitor though. And see, he built Moisty Palms. And if you remember Moisty Palms, it was you can hide in plain sight. Just what Midas has been doing. See, he knew Moisty Palms to be the perfect place for them to work at. Not many people landed there anymore, as most people were focused on the new returning Dusty Depot. So they would work there, and Midas and his four agents were there the entire time, hiding as props. What was hidden as a protection device was actually Midas working in plain sight. And then the visitor never found out per se, but what he did do was he shut them down. He shut down all 7 areas and then launched the rocket. They broke the loop, or somewhat broke it. They broke to the point where Midas knew that something was going to happen, but he didn't know what. So he hid himself for a while. And then Chapter 2 comes around. So Chapter 2, Season 1 comes around, and Midas decides to live in a house. Meowscles and Lynx have started a family together, and at this point, Midas just doesn't care. Sky is still working at Lazy Lake in the No Sweat building, but also created Ego. Yep, Sky created Ego. Here's why I say that. Midas is a genius. He would know what to do, and when he found out about the Chaos Agent, he decided to do something, but not yet. Sky, however, didn't realize this and built Ego, because Midas has a huge ego. She wanted to call it Eco, but Ego sounded better. And Ego was like a good guy team, and they all worked in the No Sweat building. Midas just casually sat at the island and watched his plan unfold. See, they immediately recruited multiple members, including Riptide. Wait, yeah, it was Riptide, right? I don't remember the good versus evil names. It was Turk. Okay, so they recruited members including Turk, Remedy, the medic, and Ripley, a sludge man created by the Chaos Agent, the main player of Season 1. Chaos Agent was the creator of Alter, the leader of it as well. And he was trying to pretty much build a doomsday device, but not to get out of anything more, just to destroy the world. And so what happened is it didn't necessarily work. He did create Slurp people, and he did create the snowstorm, but he never finished his plan. But then Ego eventually met Journey, one of their highest leaders. But see, Alter wasn't going to let them slide that easy. Chaos Agent was smart, and he started collecting the Alter versions of them. He created Riptide, an evil fisherman. He created Toxin, a person that was meant to pretty much poison anyone in there. Was supposed to poison them. He created Sludge, a seemingly evil version of a Slurp person, and he got Hazard, a person who made rock climbing a whole lot harder. Eventually they met Cameo, and of course that meant Chick went to Shadow. Alter. And after that, some time passes and a guy named Fusion comes to the island. Fusion was never necessarily part of the storyline, however. He was the 0 points energy balled up into a person. And that meant Ego needed to grab him, and they did. Midas took him for himself, killed him off, and took his energy. He was on Shadow originally, as shown by this marker here. But Midas took him, killed it, and took his energy. And yeah, the final person was 8-Ball, a warrior that works for Ego. 8-Ball had to find his Alter version of Scratch, and 8-Ball finally found him in the woods. Weeping Woods to be exact. Sky wasn't necessarily working too much, but was recruiting members. And 8-Ball, with the presumption that good should prevail over ego, killed Scratch. Well, kind of. More so, he put a virus into Scratch, creating the corrupted Scratch, pretty much to gain control over him. And it kind of worked. See, Sky was the leader of Ego, and 8-Ball asked her what to do, and she asked Midas, and Midas told her to tell him to put a corruption in him, to pretty much hypnotize him. And that's what he did. See, there was many people, but see, Midas eventually had to reveal himself. He took 8-Ball, their fiercest warrior, and started to turn him to gold. Midas started to turn his house to gold and realized that people saw him. And so because of this, he decided to expose himself and showed the agency. He had met Tina and Brutus shortly after he revealed himself. And with this, he created the agency. But see, now that he had revealed himself, he had to act fast. And he created the 5 sky bases. I love this music. He created the grotto for the big man Brutus to go to. He created the oil rig, a seemingly valuable possession, and gave it to an explosive expert? Didn't seem too smart of him. He gave the shark a pretty weird base over to Sky. And while she worked from there, she more used it as a way to work with no sweats and more. And created the yacht and gave it to his hench cat, Meowscles. Lynx at this point had to be killed. He did kill Lynx, and Meowscles didn't know about it just yet. Well, let me rephrase that. He didn't kill Lynx, but he took her mask, and at this point she was back to just normal people. She was a normal person. Anyways, eventually what he found out was that Chaos, as well as this time, because Sky was working for him, he took over Ego. And so he was now the leader of Ego. But he didn't really care for Ego. But because he was the leader of Ego, that meant him the creator of Ghost. And while he didn't really care about Ghost all that much, he did pretend to be part of it, so that way everything worked. And because of this, Meowscles, not realizing he was faking, also went to Ghost. Which is why him and Midas were both Ghosts at the start of the season. Yeah, what he found out was that Shadow was attacking. But he's not stupid. He didn't really care, actually. In fact, he used that to his advantage. See, this season was all about double agents. And so what did he do? He had his agents, he told his agents where to go to. He had Brutus go to Shadow to get information. What did Brutus tell him? That they were going for the oil rig. And so he had Tina, the explosives expert, also blow up the rig so that way both teams lost a valuable asset. Now she did go to Shadow as well, but again that was intentional. So far everything that's happened has been intentional. But was it intentional? Meowscles. Meowscles was kicked off his yacht by Deadpool, and as well as that got hypnotized by the Chaos Agent himself to go Shadow. Midas didn't realize this and considered him a traitor. kicked him off the box factory. Finally, Sky. See, if Sky went shadow, people would know something was up. So he had Sky go to Ghost. She turned it into a prison, and he put Oro in there, the person who was trying to steal back his golden power that Midas has. But while doing this, a person that nobody knew about, Jules, had been helping Midas the entire time. Jules is Midas's sister. And as well this, Jules and Midas worked together. And because of this, she made O, a surveillance owl that nobody knew about. But it was a surveillance owl nonetheless. As well as this, she was building the device. As Midas continued to kill more people and work perfectly. He killed the Chaos Agent, as well as he had to kill AIM, the surveillance robot. And he also had to kill Scratch. Not 8-Ball, but Scratch. As Scratch's corruption didn't go to plan. And finally, his device was ready. June 15th, it activated. And see, while all this was happening, I don't know. Anyways, the event happened, and everyone assumed that this was made for the war. Everyone assumed that, and it seemed to go perfectly. He wanted to break the storm and get rid of Shadow, right? Well, no. See, during the event, everything seemed to be leading towards exactly that, and it did work. But here's the big thing. We went into somebody's office during that. And what everyone thought at first was just the agency turned out to be something different. They didn't know what it was, though. But eventually we met Agent John Jones, the original creator of VinderTech. Why were we here? Well, everyone assumed that it was because Fortnite is a simulation. So that's the big question. Is Fortnite a simulation? 11, is it?
Yes, absolutely.
Perfect. Midas is a person. But he's not. He's a simulation. See, VinderTech had thousands of computers running at that very moment. Because if you remember in the office we went to, John Jones, there was a computer there that was playing the device event. But for some reason, that computer crashed. Why? Because Midas was trying to do something way too powerful. And that's why we hear John Jones tell Janice, which is what we know as Envoy, to make sure everything worked, because apparently it's not just a storm. They didn't know what that meant. It turned to water. But see, VinderTech was running a simulation at the time that they know as Chaos Theory Simulation, but we know as Battle Royale. And see, while some of these people, while they are self-aware, say AIs and work like people, they are so technologically advanced that, again, they became self-aware, and somebody figured out the truth. That is right, Midas knew all along. Midas's plan wasn't to break the storm, it wasn't to save Ego, it wasn't to do any of that. His plan was to get out of the simulation. And see, VinderTech didn't realize this. He fooled everyone. Midas has been working through the shadows to get to the 0 point for what reason? Was it for power? Was it for control? No. He was trying to get everyone out of his simulated prison. But see, the only reason it didn't work, well, the first time the machine didn't have enough power. See, Battle Royale is a loop, and if you remember, the visitors were talking about that. And see, Midas knew that if he stopped the simulation and broke the storm, he'd break the loop and get out of the Chaos Theory simulation. And see, but however, something didn't work. What was it? John Jones, or who we know as Jonesy. John Jones saw that we were there and immediately realized that something was up. He realized he had been fooled by a self-aware AI and had everyone that was running the simulation stop it. Midas was the most important storyline character. And is he dead? No. If you remember, it's a simulation, right? People don't die. As you can tell by this, Midas is just playing a game. See, there's that shark. Midas is really scared, right? Well, no. Meowscles thought he killed him, as Meowscles was mad at him for hurting Lynx, but that isn't true. Midas is alive on a boat next to the Fortilla, and while Jules continues his work in the Authority, Midas works on his plan once again. Everyone thinks he's dead, and once again, Midas outplayed everyone. As of right now, that's all we know. Jules probably will have something to do with the storyline. We'll find out more. But again, this is all we know for now. Midas is trying to break the simulation. And yeah, if you really did enjoy this, I spent a lot of time putting into this. If you did enjoy, please let me know. And yeah, Evan, do you have anything to say?
I guess we can see what happens next, and maybe I'll talk more.
Yeah, we'll see what happens next, and I'll explain the storyline in season 4. Yeah, have a great day, guys.